How much will you lose if you take your UK pension at age 55? Okay, the answer to this can be quite a lot of money, so it's really important to make sure that you don't make a mistake. Now, I'm going to separate this conversation into defined contribution and defined benefit. With defined contribution pensions, everybody currently can access their defined contribution pension pots, typically speaking, if they have flexi access drawdown from age 55. Now, is it a good reason to go and access all your pension pot at age 55? Obviously not. For most people, it'd be a horrible financial planning decision because A, only the first 25% is tax-free. The remaining 75% will be taxed at your marginal rate of tax. If you're age 55, there's a high chance you might still be in work, so you could be an additional or even a higher rate taxpayer, whatever it might be. So that's not necessarily a good idea. Let's take an example of that. If you have a £500,000 pension pot, defined contribution in flexi access drawdown, and you access 100% of it, the first £125,000 will be tax-free. The remaining £375,000 you'll be on the highest tax rate in the UK and you'll get absolutely smashed for tax by the UK government. So I would say unless you really need to, you are going to lose a huge amount of value in doing that. Not only in the tax you pay, but you're also giving up the ability for that $500,000 to grow for the next 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years, potentially pass it on to your beneficiaries. So unless you really need to, I do not think that would be very good financial planning. Always get in touch with us to have a proper conversation. You can call us on our telephone number in London. You can drop me an email, dominic.murray@cjfinance.co.uk. You can also use the Calendly link below to find a day and a time which is suitable for you. Now, when we talk about defined benefit pensions, it gets even more complicated. DCs I've just outlined is very quick, very simple. If you're in a defined benefit pension scheme, typically speaking, your normal retirement age is supposed to be 60, 62, or more often 65 inside that defined benefit scheme. If you want to take that pension at age 55, it does not come for free. It is not like a defined contribution scheme where you can decide to do whatever you want. You will have to request early retirement factors from your defined benefit scheme and have to make a very important decision about taking that pension pot early. Now, of course, your financial situation, your health situation may mean that you're forced to do that, but typically speaking, coming out of a pension pot earlier may mean that you do lose some value from your pension pot in comparison to holding it for a longer period of time. Now, with a defined benefit scheme, it's obviously slightly different because it doesn't really matter what happens so much in the equity markets. Your defined benefit scheme is guaranteeing to pay you a fixed income for life, which is guaranteed to grow at the stipulations which are set out inside your CETV. Again, if you want to send over your CETV, if you have any questions, if you read it and you're like, Dominic, it's 60 pages long, I've got no idea what's going on, send it to me on email. We can have a conversation about it. It's not going to charge you anything. You're not going to become a client of Cameron James, but start a conversation to become more educated. Even if you start a conversation with us, doesn't mean you can't go and talk to 5 more financial advisors or whoever it might be that you want to have difference of opinion from. Do all of that homework and research before making an informed decision. And obviously with a DB, here at Cameron James, we work as part of a 2-advisor model, and we will introduce you to the regulated and authorized pension transfer specialist who will be completing the suitability of the DB report for you. So I hope this gives people a bit of an understanding. Yes, you have freedoms from age 55, but doesn't mean you should necessarily give in to the temptation. If we also think about this from a government perspective, why has the UK government given people access to defined contribution pension pots from 55, whilst at the same time ring-fencing DB schemes and government pensions? It's because the potential for extra tax, in my personal opinion. In the example we used before, £500,000, if somebody says, I'm going to go and buy 2 Ferraris, very good Ferraris, and they spend that £500,000, the £375,000, they pay a higher additional rate of tax on it. It's way a lot of money for the UK government. So typically speaking, it's a bad idea, but it really does come down to your own independent situation. So in summary, you will typically lose a lot of value from your defined contribution scheme if you take it out early, or you take it out at age 55, if you want to call that early. And from a DB scheme as well, it's extremely important. You should always get correctly qualified and regulated advice, whether it be a DC or a DB pension pot. And as always, take care with your UK pension assets.